Well, Joe apologized to Rory about firing him in the mall. But if you look at this, he actually mainly apologized to Rory. He says, seeing all this feedback and all this, I do need to apologize to Rory as well. Maybe Rory and Mal too, but definitely Rory. Joe said in the newest episode of Joe Budden podcast around the 45 minute mark, 40 second mark, and adding that things sound a lot spicier in the go out. So he clearly, look, Joe is a guy, whatever gets the clicks, he's going to do. He knew firing somebody on air, come on,
would give a lot of views.
Would get a lot of traction. He knew it was already over.
Yeah.
They probably already knew the show was over a week ago. But why not make a spectacle of it to him? So, yeah.
We'll have, as far as like just actual truths, would be the start of the podcast, which I think is the best way to start this entire thing.
Okay, so go ahead. This is where you take the floor. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna laugh and I'm gonna,
It's gonna be quick, and then we can get to right when you can.
Got you.
Start of the podcast happened. Mm-hmm. According to Joe and everyone else over there, even though this is easily Googleable, if that's a word.
It's a word today.
Within 30 seconds, I just popped up on the podcast on episode 20.
Right.
The original SoundCloud, episode number 1, and our SoundCloud is under my email. I set that entire page up on episode 1. Mm-hmm. My mans did the artwork. In retrospect, not the greatest.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Set up all the artwork, did all the uploads, did everything. And again, I'm not saying this is a big foot. Like anyone can set up a fucking SoundCloud page.
Right.
I'm not looking for credit on that type of behalf. Mm-hmm. But to say I popped up on episode 20 is a little weird. Mm-hmm. Super weird. And then to say I wasn't even on your brain, period, when it came to, what I want to do with this podcast. Joe, you sat me down on episode 5 and said, hey, can you come on this podcast, please? Mm-hmm. I need someone else to talk to. Can't just do the sex thing every time. I got to talk to someone else. Mm-hmm. Bet. Episode 6, here I am. But let's fast forward. You came. What's your perspective of that? Joe said he had no idea in the world where you were.
I had came back to New York. A former friend of mine had signed with the Knicks, and we were out in Detroit together. Mm-hmm. And so I was back in the city, and Joe, he hit me and was like, yo, I want you to, come by the pod and kick it. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll swing through. And came through. We had fun time, good conversation, laughs, jokes. It was kind of like catching up. I hadn't seen him in a while. So it was like catching up, and, the energy was dope.
I remember when he called you in his kitchen. I won't say the town, but in his kitchen from one of his older houses, when we were sitting there trying to go through like, we need to get a girl, we need to do this and that. Mm-hmm. Nothing really stuck at that point. And he was like, oh shit, I think Mal's in town. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you and I weren't cool, but we had seen each other around type of
definitely.
shit for a couple of years at that point. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh yeah, Mal's fucking hysterical. Mm-hmm. That'd be great. Then you came on the show, seemed to stick. Mm-hmm. Did you have plans on staying? Like when you went into that, did you think it was gonna be a one-off?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he just wanted to, kick the shit and bust it up, laugh. Shit we normally do when we see each other. So it's like, all right, cool. Yeah, we crack some jokes, tell some stories, and, what I've been doing, where I've been at, and, just catch up. But it was something that stuck, and we had the conversation, I think maybe 2 weeks after that. And it became a permanent thing.
It definitely came out the gate. Joe was polarizing. That shit was a good little thing we had going. I get a call from Elliot Wilson. Elliot says, hey, let's go to lunch. I've known Elliot outside of my relationship with Joe, outside of my relationship, anything to do with the podcast. I've just known Elliot.
I think everybody knows Elliot.
Elliot's my guy. Elliot's an amazing guy. Yeah. And Elliot will just hit you up and say, yo, let's grab a drink and let's have lunch.
Right.
So I said, bet. We go and have lunch. Don't really talk about podcasting specifically, but just maybe the overall genre and what's going on. He has a Tidal and just shooting the shit about music because Elliot and I have similar interests. Mm-hmm. Towards the end of the lunch, he said, hey, I'm over at Tidal full time now. I could probably give y'all like an offer on some type of podcasting thing. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to hear about that. Mm-hmm. Elliot says some numbers, not, actual deal points or anything like that, but just, what he thinks, ballpark number, friends talking on what he thinks he could do per month.
Right.
It's early in podcasting. I say, bet. So I called Joe. I said, hey, I just had a really interesting lunch with Elliot. Okay, what happened? I said, Tidal, they're trying to put together this little podcast division. This is what's going on. This is what they think they could offer per month. Real casual, real regular. Never said yes or no to anything. I was just like, yeah, cool. I'll get back with the guys and we'll talk. Joe flips the fuck out on that phone. Yo, what the fuck would you ever talk about this fucking podcast to anybody? Like, flipping the fuck out. I said, Joe, I was talking to Elliot, who's a friend, and I didn't say anything but, okay, I'll talk with the guys.
Right.
Could have been a stranger on the street saying, yo, give you out $2 million tomorrow.
Right. I'm gonna go talk to the guys.
I'll go talk to the guy.
Right.
Never said anything. Never went that. Was met with just a flip out.
Right.
Couple weeks later, Joe takes us outside of the Tidal studio. Yo, so I got this Tidal deal and said the numbers, and then the exact same numbers, the exact same thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, clearly he wanted to negotiate the deal.
It's his podcast.
He knew it was his podcast, and allowing you to set up a deal would mean you are part owner. So he stopped that immediately and went and negotiated himself.
Or you could always say, I'm the one that got us a deal for Tidal.
So he cut that out immediately.
He didn't need a middle person to negotiate deals for him because he's the owner. We can go do it for himself.
That's what he didn't want.
That's what a boss does.
He didn't want you to get credit for anything, obviously.
He flipped the fuck out, called me insecure for wanting to have a contract, and said, don't call me about this shit. I said, I'm insecure because I think we're all friends and I want to have a contract since all these deals are coming in. So once the deals are finalized, the three of us don't have to say a fucking word to each other. We good.
Right.
We can continue on with this chemistry of this podcast.
Right.
But I'm insecure. I found that very odd. The same way he psychoanalyzes his friends, I thought that was the weirdest fucking thing on earth.
Right. You understand that now,
simply,
though. You understand what that energy was about now, though.
This was just the first one.
Okay, got you.
This was just the first one. Just said to myself, well, that's kind of weird. That's not insecurity. That's just how shit goes. I called before we had any deal to talk about ownership of this podcast. Joe said otherwise. We then all agreed we'll do profit partners, which is fine. If you want to own the IP of this shit, it wasn't even an argument before my lawyer even got in on that shit. That was a simple Joe and I conversation. This your IP on your shit? Okay. But let's just be profit partners.
Right.
I'm not going to get paid off this podcast. Let's put some real sweat equity into the shit. If you want to own the shit, cool. And I won't take away from everything Joe did prior to start that podcast in the beginning. Won't take anything away from that. Never even came in on some, yo, I need to own this shit. Did I bring it up first? Of course.
Right.
Who the fuck wouldn't?
Right.
It's a simple fucking thing. So then Spotify comes. Nick Rosenberg emails me, says, hey, I think Spotify is interested in doing some podcast stuff. I said, all right, bet. I'll put you on with Ian. At this point, I had already tried to bring up negotiating an actual contract prior, so we could have avoided a lot of these things once a real deal came in.
Right.
But we had all agreed at that point verbally that it would just be a profit partner percentage. After expenses, three of us bust down this percentage. We all sit behind every expense, not even on some IP shit. Not once did my lawyer even bring up in that Spotify deal about IP or a back catalog or anything. So that's why this narrative gets a little fucking weird to me. Spotify comes, we actually have to get these contracts done because now real money is on the table.
Right.
Not what the Tidal deal was, not what any other ad was, not what any other thing that I'm privy to. Let me make that clear. Shit that I'm privy to.
Right.
So I hit my lawyer and I say, hey, let's get a contract. I'm not the smartest person in the world, never will claim to be. I'm not a lawyer, anything like that. But when you go into a negotiation with another lawyer, you start at the top with everything and then lawyers just start taking shit off of what's not going to happen.
Correct.
So of course, a lawyer goes in and says, visuals now are YouTube. Okay, let's negotiate. They say no. We get into the negotiation. Lawyer goes back and forth with his lawyer. Joe and I speak on the side, one quick conversation. I never brought up YouTube money again. Not one time. Never came out of my fucking mouth.
I think it's important to highlight that.
Never came out of my fucking mouth after a lawyer who did their fucking job and negotiated brought that shit up. I said, all right, bet. Okay, wait. So visuals are not off the table, just YouTube. I'm cool.
Right.
Never gonna hear about YouTube from me again. Like, that's whatever. Visual does not just mean YouTube. YouTube's not the only place on earth that does visual shit.
But I'm
fine with that.
Let me stop you right there. The only reason why I had a problem with that was because the podcast, yes, was the Joe Budden channel active before the podcast? Yes. It was housing his music stuff, his videos, whatever. But we know what the subscription was before we started putting the podcast on there. As we started putting the podcast on, it became a weekly thing. The subscription started to grow.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the only reason why I had an issue with that, because okay, cool. Yeah, you started this channel, no problem. But I know how YouTube, you get paid each video, off of each video.
So here's the thing.
So basically it is owned by Joe. You're not owners. He did say no to ownership to you, and he did say you could use visuals.
Multiple times he had to say no to ownership to Rory.
So okay, this part don't disprove what he said. You asked for ownership, he said no. You asked for you to get paid through YouTube, he said no, but you could use visuals. Okay.
What'd he lie about?
And to Mal, yeah, the channel, you saying it was the channel subscription grew because of the podcast. Yeah, there's a new podcast on the channel.
So yeah, it's gonna
grow. It's not just because
you and
a podcast
Rory
there's a new platform. There's new it's a new form of entertainment.
Yeah,
on the platform, it's going to grow because it's going to get new people. He never done a podcast before.
Yeah,
now he has a podcast.
He's gonna have new content on every single week.
So new people are going to come to see this new content. So I don't understand.
But according to him, we don't know what the contract. We're percentage based.
Yes,
because I see the narrative is people think that we work for Joe and we're employees and we get a salary. That's not what it was. We have a percentage based contract,
and also people.
So we have to ask for accounting. Because how else will we know what we're supposed to get? We need to see the numbers. We get a percentage of whatever comes in for the podcast. I've seen a lot of people making, LeBron wouldn't ask Jeannie Buss for the books for the Lakers. I'm like, LeBron is a salary. He don't give a fuck what the Lakers makes as long as he makes $50 million at the end of the year. He doesn't give a fuck what the Lakers make. But if he was getting a percentage, if he was getting 30% a year, he would need to know what the Lakers made that year.
That's just basic.
So that's just the.
Once again, they're saying that Joe Budden is not their boss,
but he pays. Okay, it's a percentage, but you have to go to him to get the information.
If you were partners, you could simply go to
the accountant
and get the information
because you part owner.
So we get to accounting, which is in our contract that was drawn up by Joe's lawyer, my lawyer, Mal's lawyer, super standard with profit. That becomes an issue. I want to make this clear throughout the rest of this response that I asked always the simplest questions ever. This narrative of me being this difficult person or this person wilding out. I also have those emails that everyone speaks about where I'm being difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how dumb you think I am, but accounting is not some shit you send in a 5-line item in the body of an email.
Right.
Just want to make that clear.
Right.
And when I asked for accounting, I didn't think asking for what's in your contract is such a fucking crazy thing to ask somebody, your friend or not. And on top of that, I sit behind the accounting expense.
Right.
I'm not going to say the company's name because it's not important.
Right.
But they're not a cheap company to hire.
Right.
They're expensive. And whether they do Joe's personal life, not my business, do not care at all. Nor am I trying to get into Joe's personal life or personal business outside of the podcast.
We just talking about the contract that we have.
I sit behind that expense and it's in my contract. If I ask the simple fucking question of, hey, let me see the accounting, because it's also supposed to be there quarterly by law. And
that's another thing. You're supposed to, we're supposed to get accounting quarterly. If you want to do it twice a year, that's cool, whatever. But
I'm fine with that.
Right. But I think
it don't even need to be quarterly.
Right. But
it could be once a year.
I think
I'm
that
easy
people
to work with.
Right. People don't understand that this isn't something that just happened last month or March. Like, we were trying to just get some type of accounting since 2019, maybe.
No, way before that.
All I can remember is 2019.
Yeah, I'd have to look back.
Like, we had tried to get some type of accounting when we had the conversation outside of the studio. Like, yo, we never got accounting. Like, what's up? What's going on? You know, we just need to see what's going on with the numbers. And it's like every time it came to talk about accounting or business, it was always, you know, some negative energy coming from him. And that's telling to me. It's like, why are you getting so defensive when we're asking for something that's just protocol in business when you have a contract based off of profit percentages and all of that?
Okay, so this is pretty easy. I don't know if Joe was robbing y'all, if he was hiding the accounting from y'all because he was hiding money. But I do think he believed y'all were robbing him, as in he believes when y'all first started and y'all signed those percentage-based contracts that, okay, whatever. But as the money went up and y'all money went up, it was like y'all getting overpaid. These percentages are too high for y'all. And y'all even admitted in this that he wanted to put y'all on salary at the end of your contract, which y'all were never going to agree to. He thought you were overpaid. Clearly, when he did some stuff with his accounting, they started going through numbers. They started crunching numbers. They said, we overpaying these dudes. These percentages are too high for them.
Exactly. And honestly, it feels like you guys didn't really start thinking about this until DJ Academic started clowning you guys.
Wait, they said 3 years.
They say 3 years.
Joe even said 3 years.
Oh, Joe said, okay.
Joe said they've been asking for about 3 years. They agree with him.
Okay.
Now, once again, if Joe signed a contract that gives them a percentage, give them their percentage at the end of the contract, then you say, I'm not signing a contract for percentage with you again.
Is there anywhere in the contract where it says that he has to have accounting show them?
They said
stuff?
yes. They said he did.
Okay.
They said that it was supposed to be quarterly.
Okay.
They said it would have took 1 year or 2 year. But
I'm just saying, was this verbal or was it in the contract?
it was in the contract. Now,
I would
Joe,
think they would show their contracts though.
I don't know. Joe is wrong for agreeing to the contract and not living through it. Even though he believed he was overpaying them, you signed the contract at the beginning.
You got to follow through what you said.
You gave them the percentage that they said they wanted. You got to live with it. Now, they have seen that Joe has said fuck contracts before. Matter of fact, on the podcast, when Rory said, you talking to a guy who don't give a fuck about contract. Joe said, me too. And Rory said, I know. I'm looking at a guy who don't give a fuck about contracts. So why did you expect him to give a fuck about the contract?
Why sign a contract when you know he don't give a fuck about a contract?
Like, you knew the second he came to a revelation that
he's paying you too much.
Yeah, y'all getting paid too much, that he was going to say, fuck this contract.
Contract's out the fucking door.
But yeah.
And again, this is not an assassination character. Sorry to cut you off. It's not an assassination character because I don't want to go in the same route that they went.
I'm not assassinating.
Joe has done great things with money and great positive things because I do think there is a good part of him. But there's also this other part.
Right. Absolutely.
What you're speaking to.
Yeah,
I think Joe has some amazing qualities.
I think so too when he wants to. But I also I'm learning because, see, you got to give shit time to fall the way it's gonna fall.
Yeah, you got to give time.
And and you got to just watch people. And you know, I heard Joe say, "Oh yeah, me and Mal never broke down a bag or bust down bread together," whatever he said. And I'm like, my nigga, that's not true. Like, but when you was still rapping and shit, I had you do verses for niggas that I know. I had you do videos with niggas that I know. Like, I had you through walkthroughs with promoters that I know, like in Connecticut and shit like that. Like, I tried to like bring shit to the table, like, but again, it's never about money for me. It's all about, you my man. Listen, if it's some bread out here to get, go get it. If I know some niggas that's trying to do a party and they want you to do a walkthrough and all that, here, let me set it up for you.
And right there, I believe he misunderstood Joe a little bit. Joe didn't say you never help him make money. He said we never made money together. As in, we never been in business together where we had to split.
Partners.
We've done situations where you hooked me up with somebody to make money, but we have never. Now, I don't know, maybe when you hooked him up with somebody and he would give you a little bit of the money.
But you're not business partners.
Exactly. It's a different dynamic.
I don't think they get his wording when he says stuff. Even though he's speaking plain English, I don't think they understand him when he be talking.
Yeah. I don't know.
Once I see niggas doing weird, funny shit, I just get away from that. Like, I don't even want to be around that type of shit. And now it's to a point where you saying things and, you got other niggas in the room saying things and chiming in. And I'm like, yo, what's up with y'all niggas? Like, what the fuck is going on? So now I'm sitting here working. Now everything is starting to become really clear to me. Like, shit is starting to really become clear to me. Like, oh, you niggas been having little conversations and conspiring shit for a minute. You niggas been trying to like set shit, playing with the chess pieces and try to set shit up to look a certain way for a while now, because now that the shit is out the bag, I'm starting to see everybody's true feelings on certain things. And people is talking about business that they don't know nothing about. They talking about contracts that they don't know nothing about. And I'm just like, fam, what the fuck is going on here, man? And then you saying shit, I lived with you. You making it sound like, nigga, I wasn't. When you met me, I had money in my pocket, nigga. I might have had more money in my pocket than you had if we keeping it 100. I was always hustling. Always doing shit I shouldn't have been doing. that I didn't really want to do at a time in my life.
Allegedly.
But I'm just saying, like, I was always a nigga that if I had to go get it, I would go get it. So don't try to paint me like I'm some nigga that you found on the street and I was fucked up, I was homeless, and I was sleeping on your couch. I'm hiding detergent and all this shit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Let's talk about what you hiding. Because every time it's a talk about accounting, it's always some argumentative energy coming from you only, not from me, not from you.
Never.
I'm never arguing about money, especially not with my niggas. I'm not doing that. But if every time we present some shit about accounting and you want to start arguing to them, well, audit me then, fam, I'm never taking my niggas to court. And the first thing you say is, if y'all try to start a podcast, I'm suing the pants off of y'all. Who are you, my nigga?
So there was definitely reverse psychology with the whole, you and Parks. He was throwing shots directly at Parks.
Well, Joe is accusing them of conspiring together, and they're accusing at least Parks, Ian, and Joe of conspiring together to get rid of them. So their belief is, Joe, you don't want to pay these percentages anymore, so you're trying to replace us so that you can pay somebody a salary so y'all can move on.
But we can't say that because even if he told Rory to go.
Yeah.
He never told Mal to go. So if he was planning on replacing one individual, that was for sure Rory. But he didn't ask you to leave, Mal. He asked Rory to step away from the show.
Because Rory the one asking all the questions.
And that's what we were talking about prior in the other podcast. Rory was the one that was putting little bugs in Mal's ear about the accounting. You know, there's 2,000 people here. There was 50,000 people. We got paid the same.
Well, he said he came to that conclusion.
He didn't come that. It was Rory.
No, I mean, let me say this.
I don't think Mal is dumb.
If you agree to a contract to pay me a percentage, pay me my percentage.
I totally agree with that.
Now, the difference is they believe money was being hidden, and we don't know that. They believe money was not being accounted for, so they wanted the real numbers.
And Joe never said you was broke. He just said that
you live with him.
You live with him. You never denied the fact that you live with him.
He just said you would do the hide detergent. That was crazy. I told you that was crazy. That was crazy to say.
That was a black thing.
Yeah, that was crazy.
When you said that fuck shit you said to me at Park's crib, talking about you, this is none of your business, I knew what it was then. And I told you that, Rory. I said, yo, Rory, it's over. And he was like, what you talking about? I said, fam, this nigga just told me that this podcast is none of my business. Looked me in my eyes and said, it's none of my business. That for me said everything. You finally just said it, but you've been feeling like that, nigga. You've been moving like that. You just finally said it.
We're naive and thinking friends.
Because I'm thinking you my man.
There was cues to it.
It's plenty of times we traveling, we touring. I'm like, yo, fam, how am I getting the same payout when we sell 1,500 seats and we sell 2,000 seats? You think I'm stupid? How am I still getting the same money for that? That don't even add up.
Yeah, so
what I just said,
yeah.
it was Rory. I'm telling you, this is Rory, and he's sitting here trying to play the good cop, and Mal being the bad cop.
I don't know, man.
He don't look bad.
I'm gonna keep saying it. If you agree to a percentage, pay the percentage. When it's time to renew the contract, buy them out. Get rid of them if you want to. That's the bad business that I see from Joe so far. To me, they've admitted that he has ownership. So I don't know why Mal is saying they being left out of stuff. When Joe tell you it's not your business, he's the owner.
It's not your business.
He makes the final say on everything. He's right. Your job is to simply get your money, collect the check.
Now, if you guys are percentage partners, then yes, you should know how much percentage profits you're making on. You should know that type of stuff. I
agree. He should have gave them
the
accounting.
If he feel like y'all fucking him over by making too much money that you shouldn't be making,
hold on, they're not fucking him over. He agreed to it in contract. It's not fucking somebody over when you agree to it in contract. You only
that's his friends.
What you mean?
He was thinking from a point of, I think when he did these contracts, these are my friends. But when he started seeing the money and how much they were making, he was just like, this is ridiculous. They're making money that
A might make.
A might make. There's no fucking way they should make this money.
Well, that just means the podcast is very profitable if they can make that, and you can make more than that. But like I said,
clearly Joe was ready for this.
He's ready for it to blow it up.
Obviously. He's ready for it. He's tired of it.
He feel like they making too much. Obviously,
this man, and it's to me, and this is just my perspective. I feel like Joe feels like a lot of the success of this podcast is based off of his music career. Right? I feel like he thinks it's a trickle down effect from his music career to the podcast. And my thing is, it's not. I've been in some of these cities when you were a rapper, Joe. I've been in some of these cities. It wasn't, this many people weren't showing up for you. And see, and again, through all of this, I've had time to replay some shit in my head, and you know how certain shit has started to like come together. And he said something at the Highline Ballroom show we did when we were in the dressing room. He had went outside, he had recorded the people wrapped around the corner, and he came back and he said, yo, I got these niggas wrapped around the block. I got the line around the corner. And I looked at him and I said, Joe, you don't have the line around the corner. We have the line around the corner.
Well, I don't know if I believe Joe believes that the people are coming because he's Joe. I don't know if he think they're coming because of his rap career. I think he believes it's because of his
personality.
Yes, Joe.
It's Joe.
He believes I'm the reason why they're here, not because of my rap career, because I'm me. That's what I get.
That's not to say that nobody is coming to see you or Rory.
Clearly, you have a base.
You have a base, but they're coming to see Joe. Now, Joe definitely could have said, we
got around the block.
Got people around the block because you don't want to come off as egotistical, arrogant, and self-centered.
Yeah, but Joe is.
But it's the truth. They was around the corner to see Joe.
But Joe is egotistical and self-centered. They knew this. He has an ego. That's what makes him Joe. I don't understand how y'all was able to ignore this for all these years, and then all of a sudden it's bothering you. I wonder why it's bothering you now. It's like the money got a little high, and they started saying, "Hold on, we supposed to make more than
the money got a little higher, and people clowning y'all."
Yeah, I agree. I believe academics
had a
gigantic part in them really wanting to know the numbers because they felt like, okay, we are owners in this.
Not only that,
we're percentage partners.
Charlamagne, Andrew Schultz, they were clowning them as well.
So I think they got tired of being called workers, employees.
They are workers. They are employees.
So they was like, okay, we gotta, we gotta get.
I'm a manager too, but I'm a what?
I'm
a worker. I'm an employee. I don't own my
But you work
business.
for somebody.
I work for somebody.
Yeah.
Joe said he didn't even honor our contract and overpaid us because he said he looked at our contract and saw what that money would have been off our percentage base and said, ugh, I don't like it. I want this to be the last time we talk about this, so I'm even going to put in his good points that he said.
Right.
Which, again, I'm not sitting here saying I didn't believe my mans when he said that.
Right. Right.
I did.
Okay, cool, yeah.
And I said,
thank you.
I said, yo, thank you.
Yeah.
That's fire. That's some real solid, real man shit to do.
Right.
But when we go back to the points of when we get our respected corners, let's figure out what makes this work for our friendship and the business side. Mm-hmm. Accounting got brought back into play from when it stopped with the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And everyone made it clear, I don't care how far you dance around it, just throwing numbers in an Excel spreadsheet is not accounting.
Not accounting.
So yes, did I get accounting that said I was overpaid? Did I get accounting that said Joe is the greatest guy on earth? Of course. Mm-hmm. I did. And even then, did not say he was wrong. I said, just give me the regular accounting. Like, you taking a whole month and getting mad at me and resenting me because you've been overpaying me but didn't tell anyone, and you now have the accountants working on this instead of something else, and they're offended and this and that.
Well, let me be clear. I don't think we were overpaid.
I'm still on the side of
you don't sit on
I don't know anything.
You don't know.
That's been my issue the whole time.
I'm just going with the optic. You don't sit on the set and talk about me and talk about you the way he did, and then underneath all of that, you're overpaying somebody. It don't add up.
Let's say I'm overpaid.
It don't add up.
Let's say I'm overpaid.
That energy don't even match.
What?
Yeah, I think if you're overpaying somebody, you will be angry at their ungratefulness. So I don't agree with that part, but I don't know if they were underpaid or overpaid or based off of their numbers, based off of their actual numbers that Joe has, or at least that his accountant. I don't know, but clearly Joe feels like you were overpaid.
And you weren't grateful. He felt like you're bitching, you're complaining, you're taking off time, you're doing all this stuff, you're bringing your personal problems into the podcast, and he was just like, fuck it, I'm ready to end it.
Well, I think a lot of it is Joe, once again, he thought they were overpaid, and because they questioned him, he felt like they were questioning his loyalty and respect for them. And it's like, just respect the fact that I'm doing what's right by you.
Can you imagine you are overpaying somebody?
Which we don't know.
This is just what Joe said and what they're saying. And they coming to you asking about accounting. You like, you really want me to show you something where I'm overpaying you, and you really want me to show you this?
Now, according to the accounting that Rory said he received, it did show that they were being overpaid, and Joe was, making all this for them.
Accounting is it's a spreadsheet.
No. He wants the real stuff, like not just you typing it up and sending it to me. I want the real accounting. I want you to send me the real numbers, the real all that.
Oh, he wants to see what people are like if they go touring.
The expenses,
he want to see the
ins and outs. He want to see it all.
I don't think they were never
gonna give him that.
They were never gonna get that.
They're never gonna get that.
Know what you're doing. You're gonna sit here and try to play, oh yeah, I could do this with anybody.
No, I know that.
Cool. I know that's what you always wanted. You wanted to move me and Rory out. You was gonna try to wait till our contract was over, because you know I wasn't going for no salary contract. Rory's already told you he wasn't. But then now you could bring in 2 other people that's gonna have to roll with the salary contract because they didn't build this show. Yeah. So I know how you trying to spin it. It's fine, bro. I don't care about that. But please don't try.
Also said that he could get both them for the price of half of one of us.
Of course he can.
No, he said that to me though.
Of course he can. That's what he wants. Yeah. He doesn't want to have to pay the money that he would have to pay.
Yeah, he said
so it's like it's cool
for the price of one of us cut in half.
But it's like what you're not gonna do. You're not gonna sit there and defamate my character, bro. Don't do that. We are not doing that. It's not happening. My reputation is A1. You're not gonna find anybody out here that's gonna say no grimy shit about me or some crazy shit about me. And if they do, they're lying. So don't do that. You can have your platform. And again, I'm not salty. Go on and do big numbers. Be great. Be whoever it is that you want to be.
I think everyone will be fine.
But please do not defamate my character and try to paint me as somebody that I'm not, because that's when things are going to go really, really wrong. And I'm not trying to do that. I'm not going to defamate your character. Don't defamate my character. We tried something. We tried to work some business out. It didn't happen. Rory and I know why it didn't happen. So let's just leave it at that, fam, and stop lying to the people, man. Like, give the people we gave the people the truth. But then you should give the people the truth as well. Don't sit there and spin no narratives and just lie and create shit. No, fam, this comes down to we have a profit agreement, a percentage-based contract with each other, and every time we asked for accounting, there was a problem. You never wanted to give nobody accounting. You don't want to show us the real numbers from the deals and all of this other shit. And it's like, all right, fam, what are we doing? Because again, we have this contract, and if you're not going to honor this contract, like you said in front of other people, then it's like, this shit ain't going to work. It's not going to work. And if you don't, like I said, if respect ain't there, I'm not there.
Well, he was never going to show accounting ever.
I don't feel like you should have had to.
He was never going to show it. So I guess that's the end of that. Now they put everything out. It's like Joe said in his what he said. It was about accounting. You've been wanting for 3 years. He was never going to give it to you. You have to audit me to get it. So I guess now that it's over, I guess you'll now audit him for it.
Well, Rory definitely gonna do it.
So audit him for it. And if here's the thing, if they audit him, and this is what's gonna really decide whether or not how people view Joe. If they audit him and it comes back, Joe was shiesty, Joe was hiding money, fuck him, then everybody gonna be like, oh, Joe, you riding. They're gonna look at him as another businessman, but he probably won't fall off too much, but it'll be, whatever.
But if it come back
that he was not hiding money and that he was overpaying you,
what you gonna do?
I don't know, man. But we have to wait for it to happen. We don't know nothing. We gotta wait and see. In our video, we kept saying it's Joe's podcast. He has ownership. People were saying they have ownership. No, they do not. They've said they have a profit percentage partnership. They are not part owners of the IP. Joe owns it. They get money based off the deals. They have no control over the podcast, no decision making, nothing. It's Joe's.
And Rory was the main one that was trying to get partnership
at the beginning.
But Mal never. I didn't hear him mention saying he ever wanted partnership.
I don't know. But so we said ownership is Joe's. That's what we say in value. Even in this, you can watch the whole thing. This is not the whole thing. This is just clips. They even pointed out, yes, obviously Joe has the most value, but we believe we have value too. But it's like, who's the person that made it?
Joe.
So it's like, what are we talking about here? Oh, he didn't show you the accounting. You have a deal where he's supposed to show it to you and pay you off percentage. Get him. I'll tell you, get him. Take him to court. Get what you're supposed to get. But that's all it is. Other than that, his only thing he's done dirty to me so far is not show him the accounting.
I don't see
that's
it.
It
was dirty.
That's it on that. But anyway, man, the actual response this time, the video is about an hour long. The real video, it's only $2. We're not gonna put the whole thing up. Go get it. It's only $2. Somebody's gonna put it up.
But it's not gonna be us.
It's not gonna be us. All right, man. All praise to the Most High. Peace.